Hello, hello. Can everybody see and hear me? Let me adjust this a little bit. Hey, 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 how are you? Happy Thursday. It's Patrice Washington, the founder and host and creator of Redefining Wealth. If you are not familiar with me, then I'm so glad you're here. I'm so glad you stumbled upon me. Redefining Wealth is a platform that has been around for over 7 years now. It was founded in 2017 after a decade of being known as America's Money Maven, a personal finance expert in media, through books and television and print and all the things. I shifted everything that I was doing to really talk more about a holistic perspective of wealth. And at Redefining Wealth, we base everything on what I call the 6 pillars of wealth. These are all the parts of your life that are impacting your finances, even when you're not consciously thinking of it. And so at this point, 7 years in the game with Redefining Wealth, but 2 decades as an entrepreneur. I would say over a decade known as a thought leader. Actually, in 2020, I believe it was, I was named by Success Magazine as one of the top 25 in personal development. So it is my pleasure to make your acquaintance if you are brand new. And if you are an OG purpose chaser, you know already that if I go live, and especially if I go live publicly, I got a word on my heart. So if you are new here, say hi. I'm new, so I can make sure I slow down a little bit because I tend to get in and just start going. And if you've been around for a while, say hello. Remind me where you're checking in from. I just want to make sure that you can hear me both on Instagram and then as well on Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube. So say hello. And then we're going to just jump in to today's topic. Hi, Mama LaDonna. Yes, you're an OG from California. Hello, hello. Welcome back. Welcome back. I see you guys checking in from Georgia. Miss Peach 72, welcome. Thank you for being here. Nate 37, welcome. Thank you for being here. I really do hope that tonight's topic is a blessing to you. And I want you to know that even though I have been known for quite a while, again, in the personal finance space, what I truly believe is that many of us struggle to redefine wealth for ourselves because we live from these outdated perceptions and ideas and definitions. We cannot redefine wealth for ourselves if we are constantly leaning in to what other people tell us we should do, what other people think we should do, how other people think we should behave, right? So we've all heard this idea of like, well, you don't want to keep up with the Joneses. Keeping up with the Joneses is a part of how a lot of people fall into debt and other, mishaps with their finances. And so one of the things is, if we're going to redefine wealth for ourselves, that means that we have to come into alignment with what we actually desire. If we are going to redefine wealth based on our terms, based on our desires, based on our needs and wants, that means that we, one, have to be radically honest about that. And then we have to set our lives up to come into alignment with that. Many of us are saying that we want things and it's not reflected in the rest of our lives. Hey, new people, welcome. Many of us are saying that we desire things. This is our goal. This is my dream. This is my vision. And if we are radically honest, the rest of our life does not actually align with what we are saying we actually desire. So we say one thing and we do another. Who am I talking to? You realize that it's still the beginning of the year. Y'all, I know that it has been exhausting. We are only 30 days into the year. There's been so much that happened. If you're in the DMV area, I've been praying for you guys. You guys know that there was a plane crash in the last 24 hours there. And it just feels like so much has been happening. And it feels like we are 90 days into the year and it's only 30 days in. And I can see, as I talked about last week, when I did go live publicly, every week I go live in our app, the Redefining Wealth app, which is completely free. If you want to have more conversations and be around like-hearted people who are speaking the language of alignment and abundance, you are so welcome to join us in the Redefining Wealth app. You can download it on your iOS or Android device, and you can also just go to it on like your browser, right? But as I said last week about finding peace in chaos, right? When we have a vision, there is so much that happens to distract us and to deter us from being able to take our next best steps with the vision. And it's exhausting. It is exhausting. But I also want to remind us all that what can be even more exhausting is betraying your soul. Many of us think that we are physically exhausted or just mentally exhausted. But I think it goes a bit further than that. A lot of us are energetically and spiritually exhausted because we refuse to listen to what our souls are telling us. We refuse to have flow. We refuse to allow ourselves to move from a place of authenticity because we often value other people's ideas, information, education, and perception over our own intuition. And so that is what makes us feel exhausted. That is what makes us feel depleted. That is what makes us feel unseen, unheard, overwhelmed, overworked, no matter what we say and no matter what we believe we desire. And so today's topic in the app, every day, the community knows sometimes it's really deep, sometimes it's super silly. It just depends on like what happened that day. And I want to be radically honest. Today was a hard day for me. Today was a hard day for me because I had to make a choice that was rooted in alignment, even though it didn't feel good to make it. And I think sometimes as we are trying to redefine wealth and we make the decision, okay, I want to redefine wealth. I want to find my own example or set my own example and my own standard for what I want for my life. And now it should be easy. How many of you have thought, now that I have set boundaries and said the things that I want, and I done wrote my goals out at the beginning of the year, and I came to Patrice's Pillar Planning Retreat earlier this month, and I know exactly what I want and all of those things, and you felt like, okay, now that I'm clear about what I want, the path should also be clear. How many of you have ever stepped into that space thinking, now that I know, now that I'm clear about what I want, I also expect the path to be clear, and then found something totally different? Let me know if you understand what I'm saying. Come on, Instagram. Let me know. Come on, YouTube. Come on, LinkedIn. Let me know. Hey, Carlton said me. Hey, Carlton. Right? Yes. Marcia said me. Dr. Benson said me. You're not alone. We have this false idea that when we get clear about what we need to do, the path is just going to also be cleared. I think we see it like the Red Sea's parting. And the reality is, that's not what happens. The reality is, familiar situations, familiar practices, familiar behavior, familiar types of relationships, even if it's with a different person, will start to rear their ugly head just to see if you were actually serious about what you said you were committed to. And no one tells us that there is going to be a test as soon as we make a declaration that we are going to make choices from alignment. Not what we think we should do, not what other people say we should do, but literally what feels aligned and best for us. As soon as you start to make those types of declarations, Janisa, you are going to be met with something familiar. And people will say you'll be met with opposition. No, you're being met with something that you're used to, very familiar. You will be met with behavior that you have normalized for a long time. You will be met with things that you have romanticized for a long time. You will be met with things that you have over spiritualized for a very long time. And none of them are in service to who you said you are becoming. And none of them are actually in alignment with what you said you desire for your life in this season. And you will end up in a predicament. I'm not telling you if, I'm telling you when. You will end up in a predicament that comes to test whether you are really ready to live fully in alignment, or whether you will keep shrinking back to doing things the way you've always done, because that is what's most comfortable. And today I got met with a test, and it was hard. And it reminded me of the things that I wish someone would have told me about alignment, about when you finally say, I am ready to live fully from my values. I am ready to honor myself. I am ready to only accept behavior that I believe I deserve. I am ready to only tolerate relationships that I believe I deserve. I am ready to be someone who gives voice to truth, no matter how hard it is to give voice to that truth. You will be met with an opportunity. And we get to choose if I'm going to live in alignment, right? When am I ready to disappoint people when I make the hard decisions? For those of us who are recovering people pleasers, that is hard, because we've learned to prioritize other people's thoughts and ideas about what we should do and how we should behave over our own soul, right? If you say, yes, that's what I want, it's going to force you to let go of things that no longer serve you, no matter how familiar they feel. If that is you, being fully in alignment is going to force you to hold yourself accountable to what you say you want, no matter how difficult, instead of shrinking or settling. How many times have you declared that I want this thing, and then the minute you got met with opposition or it got too hard, you started to shrink and you started to settle, you started to hem and haw and go back and forth? How many times? If you're like me, too many to count. Where you said the things, and at the time that you said it and at the time that you declared it, because you felt like the Red Sea was going to part and you expected the path up ahead to be clear, you weren't even prepared for when something actually happened. If I'm only here for Carlton, TCB, Marsha, Mama LaDonna, and Janisha, I'm speaking to you five, right? So if you're not familiar with the language around alignment, again, here at Redefining Wealth, we have evolved over the last 7 years, right? To understand, hey, Will, to understand that if we have a vision for our lives, it is our duty and responsibility to protect the vision. And how do we protect the vision? We set our lives up by the 6 pillars of wealth to protect, to literally create armor around that vision. Now, if you don't even have a vision, that's one thing. So we just have to start with that. If you don't have a vision, you will be tossed to and fro by this world. That is what that is. If you have a vision, what is getting aligned? What is alignment? Alignment is living in integrity with the vision. It's that simple. Alignment is simple, but it's not easy to do. Alignment is living in integrity with your vision. It's living in integrity with your values. It's living in integrity with what you say you desire. And most of us can't even live in integrity with what we say we desire because we're afraid to be honest about what we desire. We've been told for so long, you ought not think too highly of yourself. You ought be grateful for whatever you have. Who are you to think that you are meant for more? Who are you to think that you should get more or deserve more or be treated with the type of respect and love and care and honor and dignity and all these things? Who are you to do that? And because we have been taught this for so long in so many different scenarios, both personally and professionally, even when we say we declare to be treated a certain way, when we're not, we struggle with cutting it off. And we're not in alignment with what we said we want, with what we said we desire, with how we said we would be treated. And I have to tell you, for me, everything that I've experienced in the last few years since ending a 15-year marriage has taught me how I want to show up in all relationships. It has taught me how to really put a demand on myself to stay aligned and be true to myself, even when the outside world says, Patrice, you're on a path of destruction. And I have to remind them, no, I'm deconstructing parts of my life that no longer feel aligned. And so here's what people don't tell you. Because when you're out of alignment, you feel drained, you're constantly exhausted, you constantly feel stuck, right? You feel resentful, you start to get bitter. And that's not even who you are. That's not even how you want to show up. It's not even a part of how you want to live your life. You start to tolerate things and keep making choices that keep you small. And at the end of the day, if you say that the vision that you have is powerful and it is non-negotiable, you keep putting the vision at jeopardy by tolerating stuff that does not align. Can I get an amen? Do you understand what I'm saying? You put the vision at jeopardy. I put my vision at jeopardy anytime I allow myself to be out of alignment. You put your vision in jeopardy anytime you allow yourself to stay out of alignment. No matter how difficult it is to do the thing and to say the thing, you have a responsibility to do it because it's our jobs to protect the vision. It is no one else's job to protect the vision. There is no way for you to say that this is the vision God gave me and then look to and fro and look left and right and be looking at everybody else because you don't want to enforce the boundaries, because you don't want to enforce the governing decisions, because you don't want to sound like the bad guy, because you don't want to sound like you're not a nice person, because you don't. And all of that is rooted in what? Pleasing other people and not being real with yourself. Protect the vision. When we are out of alignment, we are at risk of completely diminishing the vision. And the thing about it is, the vision is not just for you. There are people assigned to you. There are people who are attached to your obedience. You don't have time to be misaligned. You don't have time to be misaligned. It's too much hanging on your alignment. It's too much connected to your alignment. And I just wanted to say, I understand. That's what the point of this live is. It is just to share with you that I understand. I understand how hard it is. And I don't want to sound like someone who's been in this work for so long that it doesn't faze me and it doesn't bother me. No, I stopped by today to tell you the 3 things that I wish someone would have told me sooner so that you could get it sooner, quicker, faster. So if you are somebody that is here and you know that you have been misaligned in relationship, in the way you run your business, in your job, in anything, you know that you've been misaligned and you've just been silently hoping for the best, silently hoping things resolve, silently because you don't want to be the bad guy and all of those things. I just stopped by today to give you these 3 truths that no one shares about alignment. While I take a sip of water, say, give me the truth, Patrice. Give me the truth. I promise we won't be here too long. They like, oh, you haven't gotten to the truth? No, I was just setting you up for you to understand why we got here. No, we haven't gotten to the truth. I'm about to give you the truth. Yeah, they're like, there's more? Absolutely. There's more. Let me give you the truth. Here's the first one, which I've already alluded to. The first one is, it's hard. Hey, Sam. It's good to see you 2 weeks in a row, friend. I haven't seen you forever. It's hard, right? When you are becoming someone new, when you are birthing something new, right? It is hard to take on this new persona, right? Like these new concepts, these new ideas. And I want you to be gentle with yourself because it's hard. If you have not had practice with this, there is no reason that you should make yourself feel bad that you're not grasping it sooner. You have to do the version of it that you can do. right? Because it's easy to hear something and to know it in theory. Last night, I was coaching on our Mastery and Momentum call. It's my 9-month mastermind. And I was telling my clients, sometimes you hear someone like me or a podcast, or you see something on social media, and you understand the boundary that they are referring to. And so you rush to try to give it to somebody, but then you feel in conflict. The conflict is that you understand the theory, you don't own it yet. Just because you are familiar with the words, you know it, doesn't mean that you understand the work associated with it. And so when you're first in this process of becoming more aligned, making sure you're protecting your vision, making sure that you do the things, right, that align with where you say you're going, it is going to be hard because so many people have banked on you not having boundaries. So many people have become accustomed to you allowing them to treat you a certain way. And then now you're trying to get aligned with the vision, which means what? In each one of these pillars, you're starting to speak differently. You're starting to respond differently. You're starting to show up differently. You're starting to say, hey, no, that doesn't work for me. And they're like, but we've been doing this. So, and then what happens? It gets flipped on you. Oh, you brand new now. Oh, you done got your little new job. Oh, you think you somebody now. You done wrote your little book. Oh, you done put your podcast out there. Now you think you're doing something. Oh, who do you think you are, Olivia? What do you think this is? I'm sorry, right? Now, all of a sudden, they start saying things to challenge who you're becoming. And because you don't have practice, what do? Oh my gosh, they're right. Who do I think I am? You know what? I'm not as nice. I'm not showing up as nice. Remember, you want to be nice or kind? I'm kind. I don't have to be nice. I'm a kind person, but I don't always have to be nice. Because some people don't want the truth, right? But you have to still be able to own your own truth. So I just want you to know it's hard. And that discomfort doesn't mean that you're doing something wrong or that you're not doing it right, right? It means that you're growing. It means that you're growing. It's going to be hard. Doubt doesn't mean don't do it. Doubt does not mean don't do it. It means you're doing something new and you should have no expectation of yourself to be further along than where you actually are. Doubt doesn't mean don't do it. It means you are growing. This is new for you, and you have to give yourself the grace to do it again and again, because reiteration is everything. You have to reiterate and reiterate and reiterate. You have to reiterate. You have to try again. You have to tweak. You have to do it some more. You have to keep going, because repetition and practice and a daily commitment to the things that you think are going to support your vision is what creates alignment. Declaring it one time doesn't do it. It's the hard work. It's the hard work of choosing yourself every single time. It's the hard work of writing down your governing decisions and being radically honest with yourself when they are not being met. That's the hard work. But that's the hard work. And the hard work is about making sure that you also understand that alignment is connected to your own self-love. When you are misaligned, you are agreeing to betray the vision that you say you have. When you are misaligned, you are in full agreement to betray the very vision that you keep saying God gave you. And that is on nobody else but us, right? So there's a difference between knowing it and being able to hold it. And in this season, you got to be able to hold it, even when it's hard, because it's going to be hard. It's not a cakewalk. It's not easy, but it's necessary. So that's number one. I want to normalize for you that it's hard. And I know it's hard, but you could keep going. This is why This is why I have these conversations. And again, if you're brand new, come into the Redefining Wealth app. It's totally free. Download it on your iOS or Android device. These are the conversations that we have. I go live every single day in the app. I'll only go live out here maybe once a week if I feel like it. But in the app, I'm in the midst of a 365-day consistency challenge. And my commitment is to pour into my community every single day, and especially share from the things that I'm learning and how I'm processing these things in real time. And so I do this every single day. Sometimes it's deep, sometimes it's silly, sometimes it's whatever is going on. And they'll tell you, the other day I laughed my head off because I was at home in LA with my mom, and I was at home. And if you've ever been around a more mature person, baby, I tried to come in and touch that thermostat, and my mom was like, who do you think you are? You're a guest in here. And yeah, that was funny. But I digress. Okay. So the first thing is, one, it's hard. Here's the second truth that I don't believe people share publicly enough about alignment. It will make you feel crazy. Alignment will make you feel like a basket case. Alignment, did I turn the heat back down? Yes, I did before I left. You know it, or I'd still be hearing about it. Oh my gosh. Yes. But alignment will, the app is called Redefining Wealth. Redefining Wealth. It's probably in my bio. It should be. So feel free to grab it there. It will make you feel crazy. Why does alignment make you feel crazy? In order to become fully aligned, you have got to test and tweak different things. You don't know if something actually is aligned until you put it into practice. Many of us think that we can achieve alignment sitting on the sidelines, thinking, wishing, praying, and humming and hawing about stuff. Oh, I can't tell. Clarity comes in the doing. The only way you're going to know if something is aligned for you is to actually get in the game and do it. You have to get in the game and apply it. Knowledge is information and education. That's what most of us do. We gather the information, we gather the education, we sit and we look at what other people are doing. But until you apply it, how do you know if it's aligned for you? Until you apply it, how do you know if it's actually aligned for you? And so sometimes just the application of multiple things, just the testing and tweaking will make you feel crazy. But it's not only that you feel crazy, it's that other people will look at you like you're crazy. Other people will go, what is she doing? I saw her try this thing, and then I saw her try that thing, and now she's over here doing this. Yes, because I'm in the process of becoming the most aligned version of myself. And in order to be aligned, I have to give God something to bless. I have to put something out there. Now, most people value sameness, not alignment. Other people want you to be predictable for their sake. But when you are in the process of finding alignment for yourself, it's not predictable because you are testing and tweaking, and that is allowed. That is a part of the process. You have to try. You have to put some things out there. You have to see how you feel, even when you're talking, right? Even when you're speaking to people, you have to have that difficult conversation. And then you may have to go back and correct something you said in the last conversation. You may have to say, you know what? I apologize. Lisa Nichols taught me this, and I've evolved the script over time. But I apologize for leading you to believe that this behavior was okay for the last 2 days, for the last 5 months, for the last 10 years. I apologize for leading you to believe that this was acceptable. However, in this season, as I understand myself more and I reassess my values, that doesn't work for me. And then you get to see how people respond. And then you get to see how people respond. You get to see how they respond when your shift disrupts their flow. When your shift disrupts their flow, you get to see who you genuinely are supposed to be in relationship and where that relationship that job, that situation has come to completion. And can I just say that as you get to this place and it feels awkward and you feel crazy, again, that is a part of the journey. That is just a part of what happens. And I know sometimes we don't want to feel crazy or go back and say something or go back on what we said before or how we thought. We don't want to do that because we think that radical honesty has to remove people's dignity. Radical honesty does not have to remove people's dignity. You can leave people with their dignity and still be radically honest about what you need, want, and desire. It doesn't make you crazy. It does. Oh, she all over the place. Oh, he's all over the place. That's not true. You're not crazy, but you are disrupting flow. You're disrupting status quo, one that you set or one that they became accustomed to. And so this is the question that I want to give you for this point number 2. Will I keep prioritizing someone else's comfort or my alignment? Drop that in the chat for your friends. Will I keep prioritizing their comfort over my alignment? What we do is we prioritize their comfort because we don't want to look crazy. But alignment looks and feels crazy. That's the truth nobody has told you. Expect for it to look and feel crazy. That's the truth. Nobody has told you. Alignment is going to look and feel crazy. So number 1, again, these are the 3 truths no one has told you about alignment. Sam, you are getting it in, friend. Let me pin you. Let me pin your comment. Pin comment so they see it. Thank you, Sam. So first one, it's hard. And second one, it will make you feel crazy. Here is the third and final truth. And then I'll be out of your hair. The third and final truth is you just cannot do this alone. There are some people that need to be able to hold space for your alignment. Because if you keep trying to do this alone, your brain is going to try to keep you safe. If you keep trying to do this alone, your brain is wired for safety, not growth. Right? Your brain is wired to believe that whatever is familiar is safe, even when it's unsafe for you. Your brain is wired to say, hey, no, this is how it's always been. We're okay. Even when your soul is screaming, this is not okay. This is not what we agreed to. You said that this year you were going all in on alignment and aligning your actions, your thoughts, your behaviors, your relationships, your environment, your speech, everything about you said that this year you were going all in on that. But your brain says, oh, that's a lot. You're changing too much. This is why the people said you was crazy. This is why they said you were in a midlife crisis. Yeah. Oh, see this. There you go. Doing all the things because familiarity feels safer, even when it doesn't feel good to your soul. And I just stopped by today to share that I firmly believe that what may have served us in one season of our lives will kill our vision in the next if we don't knock it off. If we are not the ones to take a stand for alignment and speak up and vocalize when something just does not feel good, we've been so accustomed to denying what feels right in our body, what feels right in our soul, in the favor of what looks good to other people, that we will sabotage our own vision, even knowing that what we're accepting is harmful to us. So what may have served us in one season will choke our vision to death in the next if we refuse to get aligned and be congruent with what we said out of our mouths. If you have been praying about something and believing for bigger and then agreeing for less and agreeing for smaller, you are the problem. You are responsible for the vision not coming to fruition. Not anybody else, not the people who said, "Oh, you're crazy for trying to do this, for being aligned." Not any of those other things. It actually falls on us. And so number 3 is you cannot do this alone. This is why the Redefining Wealth community exists. This is why I go live every day, because in my community, I understand the power of repetition. Sometimes you have to be around people who speak that language. I believe every time you have to be around people who speak that language of alignment, of abundance, of acceleration, of prosperity, of vision, of authenticity, until it can become your own language. You have to be around people who speak that way, because sometimes you will find yourself on the verge of accepting something that is beneath what you said you desired. And if you don't have a coach, if you don't have a mentor, if you don't have a community, if you don't have a space that literally says, "Hey, remember, we lead with vision, we lead with truth, we honor our souls. I know it doesn't feel good to deliver this. I know it doesn't feel good to say this. I know it doesn't feel good to have to say these things, but remember, are you going to keep prioritizing someone else's comfort over your own alignment?" If you are not in a space where people speak this language fluently, you will find yourself on the hamster wheel of life every single time. You will be looking up December 31st and saying, "Oh my gosh, 2025 feels like 2024 did in 2023. Oh my gosh, not only have I been doing this for another 12 months, I've let another decade go by. And God has been telling me and giving me so many things that I'm supposed to do, in so many ways I'm supposed to show up. And I keep undermining it to keep other people happy with me. I keep people pleasing. I keep making choices that are not aligned with my vision. I keep saying that I want to do something this way, and then I'm out of integrity because I accepted a different way." Alignment is living in integrity with your values, with your vision, with your honest, true desires. And every time we make decisions that do not come from that, we are the ones who are undermining the vision. We are the ones who are delaying the success we say we have. We are we desire, excuse me. We are the ones that cannot redefine wealth for ourselves because we continue to live for everybody else's definition of what that's supposed to be. And redefining wealth for yourself means that you redefine wealth for yourself. Redefining wealth for yourself means that you have to take a stand for what feels best for you. Redefining wealth for yourself, right, means that you don't get to just know the words that I am saying. You get to understand the power of doing the work. You hold yourself accountable to the power of doing the work. You put yourself in spaces where people are doing the work. If you don't put yourself in spaces where people are doing the work, what do you expect? What do you expect? You can't expect something different when you keep doing more of the same. I am here because I believe in this season I'm called to hold space for whoever feels aligned with my message. And I know that for the people around me, you're going to have to borrow my faith. You're going to have to borrow my belief in what's possible when you allow yourself to dream a new dream, when you give yourself permission to actually do the work, when you start to leverage the pillars to build something around your vision. I'm going to show up every day that I have breath in my body right now, as God has given it to me, and show up in the Redefining Wealth app for my community. Now, if you will allow yourself to be supported is another story. And I think it's so interesting too, because Someone sent me a message a few days ago about the app, about Redefining Wealth app. And they were what's the catch? Like, why can't you just do lives out publicly? Like, why do I have to download another thing? First of all, if you have to ask me a question about why you need to download another thing, you probably are not. I don't even have to finish that statement. Okay. If you have to ask me a question about why I choose to serve my people in the space that I paid for and I'm allowing it to be completely free to you, I don't even have to go any further with this. I think that's actually ridiculous. But I will say that so many of us, when I'm saying number three is you can't do it alone, so many of us will say that we want one thing, and then we will allow these spaces. And I'm grateful. I'm grateful. I'm grateful that I could find you on Instagram. Hey, friends. I'm great. I'm grateful that you're on LinkedIn and that you're on Facebook and you're on YouTube. I thank God for these platforms. Many of you I would not know without these platforms. However, in these platforms, you are up to so much competition with so many things that distract from your vision. You find yourself scrolling on these apps for hours on end and then turning around and saying that you haven't had time to work on the thing that God gave you. How? But you want to ask me why I have another, like I should just be out here. I'm not out here all the time because I personally don't want to compete with all the foolishness that's out here. It is a drain and not necessarily anything that helps me get closer to what I was called to do. So that's why I have the Redefining Wealth app. That's why I'm there, to hold space for people who want to spend some time actually working towards the things that they say they desire, and being around people who are like-hearted, not like-minded, because we don't get anything from being like-minded. You don't need to believe everything I believe. I don't need to believe everything you need to believe. But I do believe that we create a space where people are like-hearted. Where people are like-hearted. Where we all know that we've been given a vision and we just want to cheer and champion each other on to getting there. We want to remind each other of our greatness. We want to remind each other that when things get tough, we don't have to just sit down. We want to remind each other that, yes, alignment is hard, but you got this. We want to remind each other that, yes, it looks crazy to the outside world, but doubt doesn't mean don't do it, right? We want to remind each other that there are other people, purpose chasers from all over the world, who speak the language of abundance, who speak the language of vision, who speak the language of authenticity. And you don't have to be in a space where people are trying to get you to believe that you have to be on the bad side of every statistic. You want to be in a space, if your vision is going to come to fruition, where people will remind you that you are already a walking contradiction, that you are already here against all the odds. When people counted you out, when people said you couldn't do it, when you thought that you were losing your mind and that everything was going to be just go to hell, right? You want to be around people who say, sis, I know it looks hard right now, but this is not it. Like, there is something on the other side. You want, right? You want to be in spaces. Johnny says, what if it's hard to pinpoint your heart's desires? This is why you need to be in community. Because you don't want to do it alone. Your brain is so used to talking you in and talking you out. If you were in the Redefining Wealth app and we were talking about this, I would tell you that you pinpoint the next best thing and allow your soul to like lead you to it. I said earlier, I'm not sure if you were here, clarity comes in the doing. You don't sit on the sidelines and get clear. You take the next best step, and then you see who you meet, what you learn, what you observe, what perspective you have, and then you keep going. Because at every step that you take, you will be met with something that informs your next step, right? It's not that you're going to be like just on the sidelines, like, what is my heart's desire? Your heart's desire starts to really bloom and blossom when you give God something to bless. And that is why you need to be in a space where you have a coach, where you have a community, where you have people that continue to speak that into you, where you see other people doing it, where you see other people sharing how they're doing it, how they're navigating, right? But what most of us do is sit out here on these apps and we scroll for hours and hours looking at other people live their lives and really not even knowing if what they're showing you is actually aligned with who they are. That's a story for another day because that's too much. And I think I've gone too far. That's too much. Olivia said, be right back, downloading the app, right? So I welcome you. I welcome you, Johnny, and anyone else, Olivia, and anyone else truly. And if you're a man, can I just say you won't be the only man? We only have a few men, but you're welcome because I don't believe truth has a gender. I don't believe that truth has a gender. I believe that anyone who's ready and willing to embrace truth, and just be in a space where these are the types of conversations. We're not in there man bashing. We're not in there telling people to lead their husbands and all kind of silly stuff, which I've also heard from people, like, which is weird because I actually have a lot of clients whose relationships have be like 10,000% better because they embrace authenticity and knowing the vision and having a shared vision with their partner and being radically honest and creating the space to say the things. No, Johnny, I'm not talking about you, girl. I could see you on your profile. There's other people in the on Instagram as well. No, I'm not talking about you. But Floyd is here. Floyd said, "Come on, guys, you will feel the love in the community." Yeah, absolutely. So, these are my final thoughts. So again, I'm going to save this live here on Instagram. So don't worry for those of you who are saying, can you save it? And it'll be saved everywhere it is. And then of course, for those of you who are purpose chasers in the Redefining Wealth app, I'll make sure that the live gets added later on tonight. So you'll have it as well there. Again, I go live every single day, not always at the same time, but you'll be notified when I'm going live. Mama LaDonna says her husband has been ear hustling for about 8 years. I know. I hear that from so many women in the community that their husbands are secret purpose chasers too. Some of them are loud purpose chasers, and some of them are secret purpose chasers, but all are welcome nonetheless. So just to recap, we talked about what alignment was, what alignment will force you to do, how it'll force you to make hard decisions that might disappoint people, but it is in favor of the vision that you say you have. And I also went through 3 truths no one tells you about alignment. 1, it's hard. 2, it will make you feel crazy. And 3, don't do it alone. Just don't do it alone. Why would you if there is a space where you don't have to do it alone? And so I want to leave you with this. Alignment is not about perfection, right? Alignment is not about perfection. It is about practice. You will only come into alignment if you continue to practice. And most of us practice in think that we're just going to get it with big ways, but we haven't given ourselves permission to practice in small ways. And so as you're thinking about the pillars, and again, if you're brand new, you can learn more about the 6 pillars of wealth at patricewashington.com or come into the app, we'll teach you. But alignment is about the practice of observing what doesn't feel good, what no longer serves you, and all those things, right? And redefining what you say you desire, and then having a space to actualize it. Because as you actualize it, you're going to have to keep tweaking things. That's the part that feels crazy, right? So alignment isn't about perfection, it's about practice. And it's the practice of continuing to choose yourself every time, even when it's hard. It is the practice of standing in your truth, even when other people don't get it, and even when other people might mischaracterize what you said, what you did, how you showed up, right? It is the practice of surrounding yourself with people who value who you're becoming, even when it's in conflict with who you've been to them. Alignment is about the practice of surrounding yourself with people who value who you are becoming, even when it's in conflict in conflict with who you've been to them. Because if people can't receive who you're becoming, that already says a lot about how hard it may be for you to proceed. And just because they can't receive it doesn't mean that you shouldn't do it. Right? So I hope that this was a blessing to you. And I want you to just consider this evening, Where in your life do you know you need alignment, but you've just been resisting because it's uncomfortable? Where in your life do you know you need alignment, but you've been resisting because it's uncomfortable? And I hope that, and as I said at the beginning of this live, I just faced something today that was uncomfortable. I genuinely, in my heart of hearts, didn't want to do it, but I had to do it to honor my own alignment. And that's what sparked this whole conversation. I wanted you to know that you're not alone. You're not the first. You're not the last. This is the work. And there is a space where we can continue to do the work together. So I invite you into the Redefining Wealth community. Again, I go live there every day. I think this will be day 46 or 47 of my 365-day consistency challenge. And these are the types of conversations that we have. And if this is the type of space that you want to be in, then I invite you to come in closer. So you guys be blessed. Uh, if that blessed you, just say that was for me. If that blessed you, is there 3 people? Just say that was for me. That was for me. That was for me. Once you say 3 people say it, then I'll know that this was good. Cause I just like, whoa. But I had to get it out. And I do hope that it is a blessing. Okay. I see 3. Created synergy. I see you. I see you, driven one. Carlton. Hey, thank you for being here. Dr. Benson, Yoni, center of, oh, hey, Amacia. Hey, Roxanne. Suzette, I love you. I miss you. I'm so glad that you were here. Definitely re-listen. Yes, the Queen of Cascade, Mama LaDonna. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Miss 24K. Thank you, thank you. All right, you guys. So be blessed. Have a wonderful night. If you're in the Redefining Wealth app, of course, I will see you tomorrow. Have a good one, guys. Bye-bye. Bye, guys.